And by developing your belief and conviction, you get closer. And this is the second stage of the closeness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The highest stage of closeness is when you do everything in the best way possible. In other words, all your actions are done knowing that Allah sees you, even though we do not see him. So let's just pause and think about this a minute. What does it mean that Allah can see you even though we do not see him? What does it mean? So just imagine how you would do an action. We do many actions, and human beings are very forgetful beings. We don't realize who is there, who is watching us. We often are more careful if we know, for example, somebody's watching us, your boss is watching you, or CCTV is watching you, recording you. We're more careful. How would you do an action knowing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Lord and Master, the creator of us all, of you and the mankind and the universe, how would you do an action knowing that he is seeing you and that you will return to him one day and account for these actions? Clearly, you would put your maximum effort into these actions. You will try to want to be your best. You want to try to do that action in the most best and most excellent manner. And this is what Ihsaan is. So it's like a pyramid where you're getting closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The foundations of of Islam must be secure, fortified by the pillars of Iman. And this leads to the final level, or the highest level, which is Ihsaan. So this hadith, this gives us a flavor of the understanding of what Ihsaan is. Now, there are many verses in the Quran. You see, I used to think that Ihsaan means good. And please, we should not confuse Ihsaan with the Urdu word. There's an Urdu word as well, which is Ihsaan, which when you do a favor to somebody, that's completely different meaning. But the word Ihsaan sometimes is translated because it's got other root connections, like Hassan, for example, Hussain, which can mean, Hassan can mean good. Sometimes it's translated as good. But really, it is not about good. It is about excellence. It is about doing best. So there are many verses in the Quran which help us in our understanding of Ihsaan because it's repeated often in the Quran. So just to give one example to start with, and this is in relation to our parents. You'll find that there are many pillars, many articles of faith and pillars in Islam where we are explained in the Quran that this is the minimum requirement to perform this pillar. So for example, zakat, it is explained that, we need to have a minimum of 2.5%, for example. And we need to complete so many fasts in the month of Ramadan. Now, in this particular verse, which is from Surah Al-Isra, a very important context of Surah Al-Isra, this is a verse which is revealed after the Prophet ﷺ came back from the Miraj. And the Miraj happened at a time when the Prophet ﷺ was going through great difficulty, when he lost his uncle and he's lost his wife, radiallahu ta'ala an, and the non-Muslims were persecuting the Muslims with great ferocity. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala raised the hopes of the Prophet ﷺ by taking him on this journey of Miraj. And when he came back, these verses were revealed. So, and these verses set the context and for the society of Medina that was going to happen, which is the best society ever established in the history of mankind. So these verses start like this. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَقَدَى رَبُّكَ أَلَّا تَعْبُدُوا إِلَّا إِيَّاهُ وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. That your Lord has decreed that you worship none but him and that you be excellent in conduct towards your parents. So look at this example. In other places, it's minimum. In this example, about our parents, we should do our very best to serve them and to please them. And, you know, I know that some people have recently and before, you know, their parents have passed away, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have mercy on their souls. And their only regret, other than missing them, is that we would have served them even better if they were here now. So serving parents as best as you can. This is what it means here. Bil walidaini ihsana. So we can get an understanding from these verses as to the meaning of the term ihsan. So let us reflect then, knowing that ihsan means excellence and doing things the best way that you can, as if though Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is seeing you, and so that would affect your performance. How does this help us in terms of our lives, in terms of improving the moral health of our community and of the society? So one of the things I want to make, a very important point actually, which is a great disease in our society today, and that is called procrastination. You know, we waste time. We put things off. We rather, if we're given things to do, we rather go on Instagram or on Facebook or play computer games or watch TV all day than to do the tasks that we are assigned to do. And I'm talking about, you know, tasks in our worldly life, in our work or in our study. But if you are aware, you know, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is watching you, and if you are clear about your goals in life and in the hereafter, you wouldn't sit idle for 1 minute. You would move, and you would move fast. You know, you see this and I've always seen this actually since I was young, when I was at school or, you know, when I started work, that you see some people who, and I see that there's one person in my workplace now, who when they're given a task, they waste no time. They do the task beautifully, better than you would have done it, or you could have imagined for it to be done. And, you know, and I remember I had a conversation with my own boss about a worker who was like this, you know, and was working like this so fast and getting things done so quickly. You know, and she said, look, there's a potential head teacher. There's a potential principal. Why? Because the way that person works, as well as the intelligence and sharpness, the way that person has skilled themselves and is working, putting extra time, does the job straight away, puts the effort in, and does the job to the best of their ability, that person will progress up the career ladder very fast. And this is what ihsan does. Ihsan helps you in your material life as well. And so this is the first thing, you know, we have to overcome this disease, because it is a disease. And I think that if we waste less time and develop our mental will and put aside these distractions, do the tasks, we will really excel. Now, secondly, in terms of how ihsan helps the community and the society, I want to put in front of you a verse. And there are many verses, remember, on ihsan. But I want to share with you one, which is in Surah An-Nisa. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in this verse that you should serve Allah and ascribe no partner to him. Very similar start to the verse that I mentioned to you before. Do ihsan to your parents. Serve your parents, be excellent towards them. And then it says, وَبِالْ وَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا, after that, وَبِذِي الْقُرْبَى وَالْيَتَامَى, and those who are qareeb to you. Qurba, qareeb, those who are the closest, you know, your nearest of kin, your children, your family, your brothers and sisters, your nephews, your nieces, your grandparents, your uncles, your aunties, your in-laws, your close family. And then it says, وَالْيَتَامَى, so it's going further now to the, people around you, the orphans and the poor, and neighbors are mentioned. And so it's going to the community. Neighbors is not just the people who live next door to you. Neighbors are the ones on your street, in your area, in your district. And then it talks about spouses, the people who live with you. So he's saying, do ihsan to all of these people. Be excellent in your conduct, in your relations to all these people. And your spouses, even to the extent that there is another verse which says that, if in the unfortunate situation that you cannot get on with your spouse and, unfortunately leads to the situation where you have to divorce, and divorce, remember, is an act which is one of the most disliked acts in Islam, but allowable acts, then even then it says, and I quote, it says, أَوْ تَصْرِيحٌ بِإِحْسَانٍ. Even then, release your spouse with ihsan. Release them, divorce them on the best terms and with kindness. So, and then it ends by talking about the travelers and the guests, and وَمَا مَلَكَتْ أَيْمَانُكُمْ, those who work for you, your employees. Treat them all with ihsan. This really is the vision that Islam has. And if you do not treat them with ihsan, all of these people, then how does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala see you? He sees you as arrogant. Look at the final part of the verse. That Allah does not, inna Allah la yuhibbu. Allah does not love those who are arrogant and those who are boastful. So this is the vision that Islam has for society. If you were to think, and if you were to ponder for a moment and translate this into practice, this cannot be achieved by sitting idle. It requires efforts, and sincere efforts and hard work to achieve ihsan in all these relations. It requires efforts to achieve this. All these relations in the community, and your parents and your children and so on, and the people who you work with and your neighbors. And there are people out there currently who are making, and in history, who have made these great efforts. Look at the current climate we are in with this coronavirus situation. Some people, they can't get out of their houses. They're stuck in their homes. There are many disadvantaged families without food in this country and in the world. And there are people who are making efforts. We know that the NHS has asked for so many volunteers. We know that there are organizations that are helping to distribute food. So, this is what we should be doing. We should join them and help them be part of this effort to achieve ihsan in society. Go out of your way. And how many of us are doing this and helping with the food banks and helping with getting this PPE equipment to hospitals, helping to deal with this situation and to overcome this virus situation? And if you look at the Islamic history and the Islamic legacy, you will see that it is rich with ihsan. All the achievements in arts, in science, in architecture, literature, geography, politics, economics, social movement, philosophy, medicine, and much, much more. All of these came from the Muslims' desire to attain ihsan. And, this is why we have 1,000 years of Muslim contribution to science. The likes of Ibn Sina and Al-Hussain, who are the foundations on which modern science is built. Ihsan is our lost treasure, and ihsan is the way in which we can revive this treasure, and it can come back. There is a quote from Allama Iqbal. he said that, agar, and I quote, he says, agar Usmaniyon par kuए gam toota, to kya gam hai? Ke khoone sadi hazare anjam se hoti hai seher paida. Which means that, you know, when the Ottoman Empire collapsed, there is, why lament? There, you know, yes, it was a big tragedy, big loss to the society, but the dawn arises from the blood of 100,000 stars. He talks about stars because why stars? Stars are symbols of excellence. So we can revive it again through Ihsaan. So I want to concentrate on what we could do on an individual level. So there are three ingredients I want you to consider and take away in this. The first thing is, the first ingredient to rebuilding Ihsaan, to achieving Ihsaan, is to have sincere intentions. Very important. Because if you don't have sincere intentions, then number one, the action isn't rewarded. And number two, there's no barakah and you will lose your focus because your intention is something else. So purify your intention and then you will receive barakah in this, you will receive the blessings in this life and in the next. And with sincere intentions as the foundations of your work, you'll always be working hard for the pleasure of Allah and not to please others. So intentions is the foundations. You know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran, he gives the example of the tree. Gives the example of the good tree and the bad tree. So the good tree is the one whose foundations are firmly in the ground and the tree which produces fruits by the leave of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Every year when the season comes, it produces fruits. And this is what we need to have the foundations of Ihsaan to be secure. The second thing is to have a focus. You know, because this is another problem. And I find this in workplace as well, that some people don't have a focus. You ask them to do a task and they do 2 or 3 other things on their minds and there's no priorities, no focus. So focus is very important. Devote yourself to the commitment that you have made and then strive to develop yourself in that commitment. And it might be one role in your life you only focus on, but you do something, you focus on it and you will do really well at it. And in order to do that, it requires you to focus, whether it be as a parent, as a mother focusing on children, or as a student on your studies, or as a worker. And as Muslims, the more we focus on becoming better, the more we focus on avoiding distractions, the closer we get to reaching Ihsaan. And the third ingredient, I would say, of Ihsaan and of success is to develop a specialism, develop an expertise. You know, don't be a jack of all trades. Try to become excellent at what you do, whether it is running a business, or it is teaching and training others, or producing goods, helping the needy. Develop your knowledge and aim for expertise in that field. And seek out resources that will help you. Lead with excellence. You know, develop yourself. Look for workshops and courses. They say the best investment is to invest in yourself, in your continuing professional development, and to learn from others, and to grab opportunities so that you can develop yourself further. This investment will be worthwhile in the long run. So look at the current situation. You know, I'm sure, like me, you tune into the BBC News or the news every day. Look at the updates and look at who the government depends on. Whose guidance are they following? They always look towards the scientists. They look towards the medical practitioners, the medical association, people who are competing out there to develop the vaccine for this disease, and who need to develop this vaccine and turn it around quickly. They turn to them. Why can't you be those people? Why can't we be those people? Why can't we be those experts? And look, the influence that the experts have. So just to summarize, the recipe for being successful, for delivering a successful product in the workplace and in life to be success, is to purify your intentions with sincerity, use the right ingredients, focus, carry out the actions in the right way, and undertake righteous actions. Develop that expertise and do it well with proficiency. Now, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about the reward for the ihsan, those who do ihsan. And there is a surah in the Quran, which is Surah Ar-Rahman. You know, that's the one where you have the most often repeated verse, فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ. Which of the favors of your Lord will you deny? And you know, it's very important to study this surah. And you will come across this section in this surah which describes the beauties of Jannah. You know, and he says the gardens, this is for those, the gardens of Jannah with blooming branches, with every pair of fruit, with beautiful springs and reclined couches. And it's excellent, the best thing you will have ever seen. And at the end of this section, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that هَلْ جَزَاءُ الْإِحْسَانِ إِلَى الْإِحْسَانِ. That reward of Jannah, that excellent reward, because when you read the description, you see this is a manifest, an excellent reward. Who will get that reward? So Allah says that the reward of excellence will be given to those who excel. Can the reward, hal jaza? You know, it's a rhetorical question. Allah says, can the reward of excellence be anything other than excellence? So, you know, my brothers and sisters, you know, imagine this, you know, in this dunya and in akhirah, which is the ultimate goal. The best rewards are those for the muhsineen, those who excel. And, you know, I want to kind of conclude in a way by referring to what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says about those who excel. Those who do ihsan, you know how Allah views them, what Allah says about them. Allah says, Wallahu yuhibbul muhsineen, the end of this verse, that Allah loves those who are muhsineen, who do righteous actions, you know, and amalu salih. Salih is a word which means goodness, actions. But ihsan is taking this goodness to the next level. So those who do good actions and those who fear Allah, they do righteous deeds, they keep away from forbidden things, they fear Allah, once again fear Allah and do good deeds with ihsan. They do good deeds with perfection. Allah loves the muhsineen. It doesn't say, you know, that Allah likes them or Allah thinks they are good, but it says that Allah loves those, love, when we do things with ihsan. So think about the last time, you know, somebody said to you, you know, I love the way you do that. You know, they use the word love and it gets you, you know, going. You think about it, you know, it brings a smile to your face, and you remember that often that this person said this. So Allah, you know, replays again in your mind. And so Allah is saying that He loves that when you do ihsan. So imagine standing in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of judgment and Him telling you about the things that you did that He loved. And how would you feel? So whether you are a student or working, think about your examinations, think about your actions, or whether you're in your home and you're helping your family, your parents. Think about what you are doing and excel. Next time you're asked to do something, excel in it. Do your best. Do it with ihsan, not just a minimum, not just to get by, Be excellent. Strive for perfection. Be the best in your class. Show the world how Islam inspires you to attain ihsan, because we have only a few moments. Nobody knows when this dunya will end for us. So each breath, each moment, take it, use it as an opportunity to excel. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enable us to become part of the muhsineen and enable us to strive further. May he give us blessings in this, and may he reward us with the best and the excellent reward in akhirah. Wa akhiru dawana and alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. And before I close, I want to refer to our masjid appeal, and I would say that, you know, excel yourselves in giving for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's cause. And this is during the month of Ramadan, where we are unable to collect for the masjid, you know, on a daily basis after Taraweeh, because we are not there with the buckets, but you can still donate. And there's the link. I would advise you to follow that link and to donate, and to remember to check the gift aid box if you are working, so we can benefit from that, inshallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless all your giving during this month of Ramadan. Jazakallah khair. Alhamdulillah rabbil alamin.